Hi, everyone. Peter here. Welcome to another beautiful day on planet Earth. Good to see all of you. We have a video sponsored by Squarespace, and today's a double doozy. I'm going to do two drawings in yonder sketchbook, make some progress, get some things done. We're going to do a ink drawing with pen and then a pencil drawing with pencil. Let's see how it goes. But first, I want to show you something cool I got recently. That is this book right here. It's called The Mysteries. I pre-ordered this book so long ago when I heard it was coming out. My cousin told me about it. I pre-ordered it, and then it just randomly showed up and pleasantly surprised me. This is by Bill Watterson. I don't know how many of you recognize that name, but Bill Watterson is the author and illustrator of books like Calvin and Hobbes. And he hasn't made a lot of things in quite a while. I think he's been retired, or at least from making comic books, but it was so long ago. I spent so much of my childhood reading Calvin and Hobbes. This is the only book I had. Mostly I just went to the public library and checked out. I would go straight to the section where I knew Calvin and Hobbes was, and I would grab every single one of them that was there, I think. You can see here, it says, to Peter for his 9th birthday, July 19th, 1999. My parents gave me this Calvin and Hobbes book, which is the first Calvin and Hobbes book. In fact, in the first strip of this book, Calvin, I don't know how easy it is to see, but Calvin catches Hobbes with a tuna fish sandwich and, asks his dad what he does, what's he supposed to do when he catches a tiger. Calvin and Hobbes is a big part of growing up. But anyways, then Bill Watterson made another book, and it's a lot different than Calvin and Hobbes. Obviously, he's not making Calvin and Hobbes anymore. This has nothing to do with Calvin and Hobbes, but he teamed up with another artist, John Cash, who I'm not really familiar with, but I don't really want to say too much about this in case anyone else wants to get it, because when I first got this, I opened it up and looked through it. It was a very special experience because I didn't know what to expect. So I don't really want to spoil it in case anyone else wants to get it. But I will say the illustration style is very cool. It's a kind of a mixture of like digital manipulation, oil painting, clay sculpture. It's very interesting. Of course, if you want to look, I don't want to spoil it for people who don't want to be spoiled, but of course, I'm sure you can find out more online if you wanted to. I like it a lot. It's like a precious little thing, and I'm glad to have another book by Bill Watterson after so many years. That's all I wanted to say. It's just like a pleasant little thing that happened to me. That's all. I hope you're all doing good. Okay, let's start drawing. Oh yeah, the big thing about this drawing is that in a previous video I mentioned how I started a drawing with one of these zebra Z-grip pens that I didn't really like, and I left it and went on to the next page. But we leave no one behind, all right? So we're going back today and we're rescuing that drawing. But we're using the good old faithful Muji Aluminum Fountain pen, because I know that'll get me through. So let's do that. All right, but before we get into it, a quick word from our sponsor, Squarespace. Go check out the different website building, design, and hosting tools that they have available. It's an all-in-one package. You can design your own website and then get it online with your own custom URL. Like my website is www.peterdraws.com. So it looks completely professional. You can customize it as much as you want to get it to reflect your own personality or what kind of professional image you want to put out there, depending on what you want to do. Maybe a gallery of your art or an e-commerce storefront. Just drag and drop the different modules, starting out with these cool templates. So go to squarespace.com for a free trial. And then when you're ready to launch, go to squarespace.com/PeterDraws for 10% off your first website or domain. Okay. So as you can see here, first is the initial drawing I did a little while ago, several days or a week or two ago, with the zebra pen, which I had mixed feelings about. I felt bad. In the previous video where I talked about it, I said it was a bad pen, and I even put that in the video title. And then some other people said they enjoyed it, and I don't know, maybe I felt bad for those people who enjoyed it, or I felt bad for the pen itself, like it has feelings. I don't know if it's really a bad pen, but it's bad for me, okay? So let me just put that out there. A lot of people said they liked it for writing, and it's true, there really can be a distinct difference in the experience of writing with a pen versus drawing with a pen. For example, I have a lot of fountain pens, particularly the ones with more flexible nibs that I really enjoy writing with more than drawing with. But it really comes down to personal preference. Anyways, what happened was I got fed up with drawing with this one, and I stopped and moved on to drawing with a different pen. But here I'm back, and I'm going to pick up where I left off in this drawing with the Muji pen, which I know I like. Anyways, well, actually, someone, this has happened over the years that I have a habit of saying anyways instead of anyway, and some people that really bothers. But there's some people that say things like across instead of across. You know, we all have little things that we get wrong that bug people, but thankfully it's pretty minor. And it's probably healthy to be bugged by little things every now and then, just so you don't get too comfortable. Anyways, I've been a little bit bothered. One of the little things bugging me lately has been cars, okay? Mostly the way that they all look so similar. Pretty much all modern cars look like the same kind of aerodynamic lumps. And hey, I just want a little more variety. If you go out in a parking lot or you look at all the cars around you on the road these days, there's tons of different brands of cars from tons of different countries. Countries and companies, so many different people making cars, and I'm sure in their advertisements, they're trying to show how different their car is, but they've all got the same basic shape, the same swoops, and all the features are in the same spots. And I'm thinking, a lot of this comes down to what's practical, what works. They're not going to make some significant changes if it, makes the car work, or it makes the car far less functional. But I just want it, okay? I want something different. To get something different, it seems like you have to go way back in time, to get those older retro, like boxy cars or just things in different shapes. But a lot of those seems like they're not making things like that anymore because they were death traps for various reasons, because they didn't have, the right kind of crumple zones for accidents, or they were just huge pieces of metal, or they weighed too much or too little or something, right? And then the aerodynamics, I'm not an aerodynamics expert, but I think a big part of it comes down to what the trends are. I don't know who's setting the trends, but there's something in our subconscious that we think things look bad if they look different, more or less. I'm sure there are exceptions to this, but I don't know. I just get tired of it. And it seems like I have to look, well, it's okay, because thankfully, I can look elsewhere for vehicles that look different, right? I mean, if you look past cars, you can find different vehicles that look different. Pickup trucks look a little bit different. Maybe vans, utility vehicles. Gotta love. Maybe that's why I love construction equipment so much. Military equipment, all the different shapes, right? You get a bunch more cool angular features in these because maybe they weren't, made for the same, they weren't made all to save money on gas as you're driving for so many miles. I don't know. And even the companies who are changing things up with cars, like Tesla and all these other electronic vehicles, they change things, right? Like, I feel like the weirdest thing about some of the earliest electronic vehicles was the lack of a grille in front. And that gave me a little bit of hope. I mean, I like, for example, like the Cybertruck, right? I'm not like a Tesla fanboy or anything, but I just like it because it's like a glimpse that maybe things can be different. I don't know if the Cybertruck is even a real thing yet because they just keep on saying, oh, maybe it's going to be here, pre-order it. It'll be here any minute, but I still don't really see anyone driving them around. Anyways, but at least it's different. But I mean, just a little thing like taking the grill out because you don't need it to cool down the internal combustion engine, I guess. Like my heart fluttered a little bit. Like, that's cool. It's a little hop in the right direction of just changing something. But they change other little things. Little things change sometimes, like little stripes of light across the front or the back. Sometimes headlights change, when technology with LEDs advances, or I don't know, all this random stuff. But, a lot of you may think this is a really weird thing to get bothered by, that all the cars look the same, or you may be someone that is really interested in cars, and you may have a more fine-tuned eye for all the subtle differences. But I guess the way I'm looking at it is that they all look the same. There are, I don't remember what it's called, but like there are some, car enthusiast subcultures. Like there's this, I don't remember what it's called, but there's this one type of car culture in Japan where they put all these crazy body mods on their cars, which I love. I was watching this video of all this car meetup where they had these big crazy like body kits and huge spoilers and fenders and stuff, crazy colors. I mean, that's awesome. But that's just people fixing their cars up on their own. I think I'm just going to have to keep looking at construction equipment more. Every now and then you do see someone driving a tractor down the road, especially if you're out in the middle of nowhere near farms. You see someone driving a tractor down the road, and I don't know, I like that. I like that a lot. A tractor, or like a bulldozer if they have to get it over the next place and don't want to bother loading it up on the back of a truck or something. I know this is pointless, okay? Everything's fine. The cars look great, and everyone's getting from point A to point B, and yeah, okay? Everything's fine. It's just like one little pebble in the shoe of my mind, okay? And I was just talking about it for a moment, but maybe you understand, maybe you don't. I mean, yeah. If a car truly did look different, then it would probably be considered ugly. I mean, it already happened with the Cybertruck. Just like you can't really dress completely differently in a way that doesn't fit into any known style. Maybe it would be just called eclectic, but even the people who dress differently, they usually fit into a subculture of people who dress differently. Like, there's like the big current style, and then there's subgenres of like, I don't know if emo is still a thing, but there's like punk and grunge people, and there's they might wear things that most people would never wear, or most people would consider ugly, but at least in their subculture it's considered cool and it looks good. Or maybe everyone considers that it looks good, but only
for them. Maybe that's the type of thing that happens with car culture too, of people like modifying their cars in different ways that most people would never do their cars. Or I wish I could be a car person, but I feel like right now the feelings I have about a car is that it's mostly, not that it's something that gets me from point A to point B, but it's something I just worry about. It's just something that can break down at any moment. It's a liability. I feel like maybe if I had a garage and somewhere where I could work on my own car or have a spare car to work on, like a little project car. But if you just have like a little driveway and I don't know, mostly it's just something else to worry about. Maybe it's something to do with your friends and what they're into. If you have another friend who's into working on cars or modifying a car, or maybe it has something to do with how much, what's it called? Disposable income you have. Because I feel like modifying a car cannot be cheap. Or even working on a car yourself, because you could get it wrong, or depend. I mean, I know how to change oil, I know how to change a tire, I know how to do basic stuff like spark plugs on a car, but I don't know. I don't even know what I'm talking about anymore. Sometimes my mind goes off on tangents and I'm following the tangents around instead of choosing what to talk about next. But, all right, I'm going to go now. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Hope you like these 2 drawings. Let me know what you think they are. They're pretty similar. Sometimes I get upset that I feel like I'm drawing the same things over and over again, that there's a literal limitless amount of things I could be drawing, an infinite amount of ways I could be combining these lines and shapes and dots and tones and values on the paper, but for some reason I feel like I'm combining them the same way over and over again. But then I'm like, no, Peter, don't beat yourself up about it. Be happy that you're making something. Be happy that you're making anything, that you can enjoy the process. And maybe you're just kind of making what you consider to be the same thing over and over again, because this is just what's in your mind right now. And maybe to move on to the next thing, you just got to get this out of your system. So I'm just trying to enjoy it. I am enjoying it, and just kind of barfing it up onto the paper so that I can see what's next. So anyways, goodbye everyone. Have a good day and take it easy, all right? Goodbye.